Alright, now this is not going to be the funnest video to do, but I feel as though coming from console, this kind of deserves to be talked about, and I want to know if anyone else in the console to PC community feel this exact way. But I want to compare a part of PC versus console Overwatch that I don't think has been really talked about, and that is the effect that aim assist can really have and the variables that aim assist can have on the fluidity of the gameplay, and how this certain interactions with it with certain characters is a lot different and a lot more difficult to handle. Now, I've been playing Overwatch, or at least PS4 Overwatch, for about 4.5 years, and I have a lot of experience in the higher end of the competitive play. I've been in top 500, I've mostly mastered a GM, but I've been up there. You can fluctuate depending on the amount of smurfs or whatever. But what I want to talk about is the impact that sensitivity has on the tank role. Now, I am a tank main, so I played a ton of tank. I pretty much know it in and out, at least on the console spectrum, and what the console meta, if we get some damn English in here, the console meta is different in comparison to what is on PC. Now, when I first started playing PC Overwatch and I started playing tank, the first thing I noticed was how easy and fluid things really felt. Things felt consistent. Interactions felt consistent. Dying and getting kills felt consistent. And I really started to think a lot more. And I kept playing tank. I played maybe about 10, 12 hours of just tank to get all the interactions and see what is feeling so different from the console versus PC, at least tank role. And one thing I noticed was how aim assist affects the game. Now, on console, you obviously on console you have aim assist, and on PC you don't, obviously. And one thing to note is you can change the strength and the window size of your sensitivity, meaning that if I want a very large sensitivity window, or not sensitivity, but basically how the strength of aim assist is within the window. So say you can bring them both up to 100. Now, if you have 100 window size, that means there's an outer portion outside of the hitbox, a good amount of distance outside of the hitbox that drags your cursor on console over to your target. Now, on PC, obviously, this isn't here. It's all mechanical based, mechanic aims, all this type of stuff. But on console, if you're, say, for instance, you're running Winston. Winston is a very bad tank on console. And I came to PC, I started playing with Winston, and I started really dominating with him, even though on console, people don't really run him, and people are usually afraid to run him. What I started noticing is the fact that there's no aim assist. So that extra amount of leg room, that extra amount of drag that the aim assist, if you have a higher aim assist strength and an aim assist window, can do to drag onto tanks, makes playing tank feel, well, miserable. And I've gotten to a point where I quit playing Overwatch for a while because I felt as though, why does the tank role feel so bad on console compared to every other role? You play damage, it feels perfectly fine. You play support, it's usually fun. But no one wants to queue up for tank on console, and usually, even in Masters or GM level, you can get games within a minute if you pick tank. But if you pick support or damage, it usually takes about 10 to 12 minutes. And one thing I started noticing when coming to PC is I'm not dying as much on tank as I was on console. So I started thinking about it. What is the main takeaway? What is the main difference? And I think it comes to the variable between every character or every player themselves on console. Everyone's going to have a different aim assist, sensitivity, or strength, and an aim assist window. And depending on if you're a tank and you're diving, say, basically any DPS, you're diving them and you're feeling like you're dying very quickly. Now, this is kind of a good and bad thing to take away from it. I mean, it basically makes you focus on your positioning and your playmaking skills that don't require your mechanical aim. And with console Overwatch, because sensitivity is there, a majority of players have very similar aim. So it comes down to how good is your game knowledge, how good is your map knowledge, how good is your knowledge of each interaction between each character, and how to counter correctly, and little things like that. And game sense becomes the #1 priority. Your mechanical skill is way below. Now, you can have this effect, and it makes tank, because tanks are bigger hitboxes, meaning a bigger aim assist window size. This makes it to where playing tank feels a lot more bad. And this is coming from someone who's played tank consistently for 4.5 years on PS4, on console, and then coming to PC and realizing how much better it feels and how easier it feels to become a tank and play tank and have a good time and have fun with it, compared to that of, say, well, playing any other role, honestly. Like that being said, with aim assist in the game and the strength, or adjusting strength and window size for each and every character and each and every interaction, makes everything so dependent on what is going on in the settings sometimes, especially with tanks. Like the window size, that is a huge counter to tanks being able to get a bunch of value done, because they're already huge hitboxes, and then you add on top of that a drag, a big circumference of drag towards the model itself, and then you're feeling like, oh, I'm playing tank and I'm dying all the time. Even if I'm focusing my position to be better or whatnot, and bubble dancing with Winston and making sure that my Ryan, I'm using cover as much as possible and taking right fights, you can still always just get destroyed because of how easy it is to hit tanks on console, because of the way that aim assist really works on there. Like I said, on PC, you don't have that. Now, there is another thing that kind of really is a downfall of console Overwatch, is the fact that you can use a third-party, basically third-party hardware, meaning there's something called a Zim Apex, which is a configurator that you can plug into your PlayStation or your console, and it allows you to use mouse and keyboard as well as have aim assist, because the configurator essentially changes the way that the aim assist the controller works, so you have the precise aiming of using a mouse and keyboard, yet you also have the enormous drag that aim assist gives you, and essentially it's like aimbot. And you usually see these within Masters, Diamond sometimes, if people are bad with it, but you usually see it at the high end. And you can have a Widow, for instance. Let's think of this. You have a mouse and keyboard Widow, and she's using a Zim Apex, or Zim, whatever Zim form it is. She's using this, and at the same time, she has her perfect aim assist settings up. So say she has 100% aim assist, but she doesn't want too much drag. She just wants enough drag to help her lock on basically to enemies. She could turn that window down to 50 to 20, or maybe even if she wants to be a little bit more precise and nail her shots, maybe 10 to 5. And right then and there, you have essentially, it's basically aim hacks at that point. You're having the precision of mouse and keyboard along with an assist from aim assist, and it makes the feel of the game and the feel of everything just not run well at all. Now, this is a big problem, but another problem and a big thing that I see with console Overwatch is the fact that it's so easy to make Smurfs. If you have an email address, all you have to do is make an email account with Sony, and you can essentially create an account for free without paying for the game again. And the only drawback to it is, yeah, you have to do the levels to 25, but if someone is dedicated enough, you could have 15 to 30 Smurfs if you wanted to. So about every game that you get into, from Diamond, or from pretty much any rank, you're playing with people that are you're playing with a lot more Smurf accounts, which kind of skews the SR, or the competitive system, in a very wrong way. It makes it to where competitive, you could be constantly every game, say you're stuck in gold or you're stuck in plat, but you're always going against five to six Smurfs every game. and it ruins the way that the game flows, because you're doing your part, you're watching YouTube videos, you're trying to focus on how to be a better player, but you're going up against people that are at a higher level, and you're going up against multiple masters and possibly multiple GM players. And this really ruins the competitive factor of console Overwatch. And that is something that has been around for a long time, ever since consoles have been around. And to my knowledge, it's made playing competitive on console so worthless. I mean, with PC, you have to buy your separate copy, which is, say, $20. But is someone going to pay 30 times 20 to have a bunch of Smurf accounts and ruin the game at other levels for other people? So far, I've noticed, or what I have noticed, is there isn't as bad of a Smurf problem on PC, and it makes the games feel so much smoother, so much better. And the way, at least with the way that the console is going, there's no reason to even play Overwatch on console. Unless you're planning on playing quick play and the competitive scene doesn't matter to you, there's a chance you're going up against 5 to 6 Smurfs. Also, with people using a configuration system like a Zim Apex to essentially have aim assist with mouse and keyboard, which at that point it's cheating, and it really destroys the PlayStation and the Xbox community, because you can have them on both. You can have them on console, or you can have them on PS4 as well as console or Xbox. So, thank you guys for